Welcome back to the Full Force Combat podcast, the second podcast of the year leading up to the first event of the year, Oktagon 82, Düsseldorf, the delayed Tipsport Gamechanger final in the middleweight division, Krystof Jotko and Kerim Engizek. Massive fight, Patrick. How are we feeling going into it?
Oh, it's always fun to have a Tipsport Gamechanger final, right? It's a little bit of delayed gratification because we always look forward to it being at the end of the year show at the O2. Obviously, that show delivered in spectacular ways, but we still get the Tipsport Gamechanger final, potentially the final ever one. Oktagon hasn't fully announced yet whether they're going to do another season or not. But we'll wait and see if they do another tournament or not. We don't know yet.
Yeah, but speaking of the tournament itself and the semi-finals, the performances of the men in question, Kerim Engizek and Krystof Jotko. Jotko, he played it safe, didn't he? As well as missing weight, notorious for missing weight. That might play a factor into it. And Kerim Engizek, metal rod in his hand off the back of an absolute war with Hamburger. A lot of different dimensions and aspects of how this fight could play out, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah, look, Jotko's a veteran, right? He's been in the UFC, he's been in the PFL, he's fought guys like Will Fleury, who's the Oktagon champion, double champ. He's been around, he knows how to win a fight. I think that's the thing that I said when he signed with Oktagon. I was like, he's going to be dangerous because he knows how to win a fight. He knows what it takes. He doesn't care about the flashy knockout, the flashy head kick, the whatever it is.
Yeah.
What he wants is to win. What he wants is that 300,000 euro grand prize after this fight, right? He doesn't care if he wins it over a 5-round grapple-heavy decision. But that being said, Engizek is hard to get down. We saw it in the Hamburger fight as well. Hamburger tried to take him down, and he couldn't. He couldn't get him down, or even when he did, he couldn't hold him. But the two factors going into this that I have to say, on the Engizek side, is that he's coming off a Fight of the Year candidate and a war. That fight was ridiculous with Hamburger. I was on my feet the entire time in Bratislava.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna be interesting to see. How has his fight camp been? Has he been training completely, as like a normal fight camp, or has it been more recovery? Which I think it has been. Looking at his YouTube videos and his Instagram, he's been documenting a lot of his broken hand, as you mentioned. He's got metal rods in it now. I believe he said they're still in there. Meanwhile, Jotko, his camp has been all no injuries and training. But can he make weight? So he's obviously maybe had to change some things, maybe his nutrition, that kind of stuff. So Engizek has said if Jotko doesn't make weight, he is not fighting him. So we still technically don't have a confirmed main event because all rests on Jotko. If he misses by 0.1 kilo, 0.05 kilo, Engizek will not take the fight. So it's going to be interesting to see. Do we get the guys pulled up from the Tipsport Reserve fight, which we'll touch on later? David Zavada, Lagaki, two guys who haven't been in the tournament at all. Would that make sense? Wouldn't really be fun. I don't think Engizek takes another fight, unless maybe I step in front of him. He's like, oh, okay, I'll take the easy knockout, right? Like, other than that, he's not taking it. I weigh 185 pounds, so I could make weight on Friday morning.
There we go. Patrick's the man for it. But in all seriousness,
we've seen... Please.
No, drop out. But in all seriousness, with the war that Kerim was involved in with Dominic Hamburger, we've seen Kerim in big fights and grueling fights, but we've never really seen him go to them sort of trenches. I've thought we've seen a different Engizek that night. He brought a different fire out of him. He went up the gears. He was spinning elbows. He went to lengths where he was still fighting. We don't know how long he was fighting with that damage in his hand. It could have happened in the first round, third round, whatever. Now he knows that the rods are going to come out whenever, soon, or if they're still in as it stands, he's going to be wanting to go back playing it safe again. So I think we're going to see a very cagey opening first 2 rounds at least for this. Jotko's experience is massive. The Will Fleury fight, bit of a marker over it. It's sort of like buried in history now. But the names that he's fought in the UFC, and he got some good wins in the UFC. Let's have it right. He didn't go there and flop. I think we're going to see a very cagey first 2 rounds, and then I think it might start to open up. I think the Muay Thai style of Engizek will start coming out more. I think he'll try and get it on the inside a little bit more into the third round. I think the experience of Jotko is, I don't think he's going to want to be dragged into that fight too much, is he? What do you think?
See, I think Engizek has to come out swinging because, he might be on borrowed time a little bit because, if he hasn't had a proper camp, how is he in peak condition? I mean, he always is. I mean, look at his physique. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, he's coming in. He might not be in fully peak condition. We've seen he has the 5-round cardio. He can go to war for 3 rounds. Jotko can go 10 rounds. He has no problem with that. But Engizek, I think, will come out, try and take the head off the shoulders of Jotko because Jotko doesn't want to be in that war. So if he can come out and swing violently and try and ping Jotko's head off his shoulders, which very few people have been able to do. I'm not sure if he's ever been knocked out like properly. I think he might have been TKO'd, but he's never been like out of consciousness. But these guys hate each other. These guys hate each other. Have you seen the face-offs? They've been barking at each other. Jotko in Cologne, they faced off when they announced the fight, and he threw a tissue he put a tissue on Engizek's broken hand to dry your eyes because he was complaining about the weight misses, which Engizek then responded by pushing him. So these guys don't like each other. I think Engizek's going to come out and try and take his head off his shoulders.
Do you think that's a smart game plan? I don't think. I think the experience of Jotko.
It's one of them where it's like, it's a smart game plan if it works, right? So if he comes out swinging,
of course,
and he knocks him out in 2 minutes, we're like, wow, that was great from Engizek. He came out swinging like Will Fleury did against Martin Budai, right? But then if he comes out a little reserved, comes out and loses a split decision, we're like, oh, why did he come out cagey? Because he has the advantage in the early rounds. But then if he takes it all 5 rounds like he did against Kinsel, we're like, wow, technical masterclass. What a beautiful performance. He was clean, he was patient. So I don't know, the expression is hindsight is 2020, but I think foresight's 2022. Everything's kind of clear until it happens. We can predict as much as we can, but only Kerim Engizek and his team know how he's going to come out and fight. I think he's going to take his head off his shoulders. You think it's going to be a bit cagey? We don't know. It's going to be very exciting. It's a fight where I still can't narrow down a prediction, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm on the fence as well. I am on the fence with who is going to win. It's the highest ranked middleweight fight in Oktagon history to date. And there is massive implications for the dimensions of the division. Kerim Engizek himself, there's rumours he could be on the way to the UFC. What do we make of that, first of all?
Yeah, that would be really fun. I think, I've talked a lot to the UFC as well, to be fair, when I've covered the UFC. When is the UFC going to come back to Europe, like expand more into Europe? When is it going to come into Germany? Because the market is there for it. We've seen it with Oktagon. Obviously, we haven't really seen it with FNC. They're struggling to sell. But, UFC coming to Germany, if they get the right names, like a Kerim Engizek, if they come back to Germany and have a Kerim Engizek on the main card, that's going to fly. Tickets are going to fly off Ticketmaster. So that would be big. It would be huge for Germany as well, because I think the last time they had a guy in the UFC that was like kind of known was David Zavada, who's on this fight card. We had Niklas Stolze, who's also in the Oktagon ranks, but there hasn't been that big German name, the guy with the flashy knockouts, the cool looks, the world title. He's a guy. Okay, he's 34. But he could have some fun fights in the UFC. Him in the middleweight division in the UFC would be fascinating, because his style, I think he's very, very good. Especially if he beats Jotko, he shows, okay, he is on a fringe top 15, 20 level, 100%. And I think he's a top 10 UFC level.
My point of view for it is I think if he wins, and he wins well, especially, he fits the profile of the type of fighter the UFC have been going for the last few years. There was a few notable names from the PFL since they've had a lot going on, and I think Kerim Engizek is one that brings a different kind of style and a different kind of fan base. We've seen it before earlier this time last year. Sorry, now it's a bit delayed getting into 2026, but yeah, this time last year at the start, the first round of the Gamechanger. And the pro football crowd, the noise in that building that night when Engizek walked out was sensational.
It's going to be even louder, by the way.
He can be, yeah, of course, man. I mean, Germany's on its way now to becoming a combat sports powerhouse again, like with Ajit Kabayel on the weekend in Düsseldorf. Imagine in Oberhausen, but they're talking about getting him in Düsseldorf in the stadium. I mean, imagine those two. Like, they're going to dominate, aren't they, in the MMA side and the boxing side? So it's great to see, and I'm all for it. I'm not against. I'm never against a fighter going from the peak of the European scene to then go and test himself at the world level as well. I think Engizek deserves that with the run that he's been on. But the dimensions of the division off the back of this, Will Fleury still wants the fight. So if Engizek does win and go to the UFC, that does leave the opening for Muradov to be upgraded, or they just fight for the undisputed middleweight championship. Where do you see all this playing out? What's your landscape of it right now?
Well, real quick, I want to touch back on Engizek and what's great for the UFC. What will be attractive? His follower count is 390,000 followers. That's more than some UFC champions. By the way, I think he has more followers than the likes of Joshua Van, who's also very popular. So that's an attractive one. They can definitely sell European cards. As you said, Agit Kabayel, an amazing win on the weekend. And I think they will push into the German market, especially if boxing is coming here. We could have Alexander Usyk headlining a card here potentially with Agit Kabayel. So we don't know. But getting back to the middleweight division, Mahmoud Muradov, another ex-UFC fighter, in my eyes, should still be in the UFC. It's very exciting. A straight upgrade to me is kind of boring. It's the same way how Tom Aspinall was crowned, the same way how one of my favorite fighters of all time, Robert Whittaker, was crowned. I don't like it. He has to, because he hasn't earned that, right? He's the interim champion. He hasn't earned that to be the title. So I do think he does have to fight a guy like Will Fleury who's willing to come down. I'm not sure the top of the division is kind of weird because the rankings haven't been updated in a while. So when I pull up the rankings right now, hang on, I should have done this smoother. You still got Patrick Kinsel. We've seen the fight. It's not that exciting. He had a great performance against Robert Pukac, but no, sorry.
Is that enough to put him back in the mix? Though I don't really think.
Let's be realistic. He beat a welterweight, right? I'm a big Pukac guy, but he beat a welterweight moving up. Not the big.
That is true. That is true.
You have Piotr Wawrzyniak, or I don't know exactly how to say his name, but he's booked in Poland now, right? Mm-hmm. But his last fight, he lost to Hojat Hajavand, who lost to Krystof Jotko, right? So let's think about it this way. If Will Fleury doesn't get the shot and he has to defend his light heavyweight title one more time, which I think he will, right, before he moves down to middleweight, I think he'll want to defend that light heavyweight title because there's a couple guys in there that he could defend it against. Didi Spor is likely the next one. You have Krystof Jotko. Let's say he loses to Kerim Engizek. He's still up there. Only lost to the champion. Could do that fight with Muradov. Still a UFC level camp. I almost said it in German, camp. It's a UFC level fight, right? It's an attractive one for fans. It's two big names. That can sell in the Czech Republic. You could put that maybe in Štvanice. I think Jotko would want to fight in Poland. I don't think Muradov wants to fight in Poland. I don't know. I think Muradov would like to fight in the Czech Republic. We could see that fight headlining maybe in Bratislava. That could be interesting. Jotko's the name that's still kind of there. If he doesn't, unless he gets knocked out in a minute, then that fight doesn't make sense, right? But you have Hojat, who I think is deserving of a big fight. You have Velasco Shepo up there. Again, I think he still needs one more. Another guy who I still think should have been in this tournament and could be in the final right now is Jamie Cordero. Looks like he's trying to fight again in March or May on one of the German cards. So we're still kind of waiting to see what the future is with Jamie Cordero. There's a couple rumors that he was quite upset with Oktagon, so we don't know kind of what's going on. But I think Muradov has to fight someone, and I don't think it's going to be Will Fleury right away.
The only thing is, within the last week or so, Didi Spor is apparently going to be out for quite a period of time. So that will be delayed. So everybody's in Will Fleury's words and everybody else's eyes as well. What we've all seen, let's not lie, he's called for challenges and they've all dispersed from the division or said no. I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to challenge yourself. I know Will's doing well, but you just want to challenge yourself anyway. yeah. So then Muradov has done a video stating that he would like to fight Will. He knows he's not
I
the
did
full
see
champion, but
Oh.
after the weekend, it will know a little. Everything will be a little bit clearer after
Hopefully,
the
yeah.
weekend. But it's exciting times, isn't it? No matter what happens, it's a good headache to have for Octagon.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive! What a
Yeah,
time to be alive!
exactly.
That middleweight division. I've said it for the last 12 months. They can blow up this middleweight division, and hopefully, whether it be the last game changer or not, we'll get a banging main event to prove us right and set the year up for a storm.
Exactly. Well, I spoke with Pavel Neruda at the beginning of the year. I interviewed him in February in Düsseldorf, right? Just before the tournament kicked off, and I asked him, why the middleweights? You have a lot of exciting divisions. You have the featherweight division headlined with Max Holster, Nico Samsonite, Magomed, Dennis Ilbai. You have all these exciting guys. You know, that's a Shark Tank of a division. James Hendon, Johnny Palakai. You have that list of names. And he said, look, we've done the lightweights. I believe the first season was welterweights, right? We've seen those. People want to watch the big guys fight. When your dad talks about boxing, what does he say? Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, the heavyweights. People want to see the big guys fight. Heavyweight division isn't full. Light heavyweight, kind of there, but no one was active enough, right? Pavel said to me, what's attractive? What will get the girlfriend watching with the boyfriend? Oh, that's a big, handsome guy. Oh, he's ripped. Oh, these two handsome guys in the cage fighting each other. That's exciting, right? The middleweights, when they land, we've seen it in this tournament with Kerim Engizek. When he lands, he knocks you out. You know, we get bangers. Dominic Humberger. Oh my God, a star was born in this tournament. Dominic Humberger. Tell me, when he came in April, did you think he was going to do that? Did you think he'd become as big of a star as he is?
No. I didn't foresee the impact that gentleman would have in not just the tournament, in the entire organization. Let's have it right.
Yeah, he's been huge. 3 fights this year, a banger with Samuel Krystof, that Pirat that he knocked out cold. Then he knocks out Mark Hume, who was the dark horse favorite for the whole thing. And then he takes on Kerim Engizek in a fight of the year candidate that was close. I mean, he lost, but it was close. He showed his worth. But he's marketable. He's fun. Generally becoming one of my favorite fighters under the Oktagon banner. He's fun. He's marketable. He has the soldier backstory. Comes out with all the soldiers. I mean, you saw it in Eden when he walked out during, I believe it was during halftime. That was unbelievable. The whole stadium was there for him. Now, obviously, he's not on this card, but he's fighting in Liberec in his hometown. That is going to be nuts. So for Oktagon, you know, despite whoever wins this final, it could be a draw in the final. Obviously, hope not, because that would be a disaster. But this tournament has been amazing for them, and they've built some stars out of this. And I hope, you know, we've had a lot of injuries. Vlasto Shepo, Mate Peñas, we've had a lot of guys kind of fall out of the card. But it's an exciting time for Oktagon for sure, and this division has helped that for sure.
Absolutely. So it's the third, and if it should be the last, where do we rate it out of the 3? The welterweight division, give it Liftoff, Veliskovich winning that tournament. The lightweight tournament was mega last year. Kate Paradisi a final. We had some good matchups throughout that year, and this year, like you said, Oktagon have done well because, like you said, with the injuries and all this sort of stuff, they've had to reshape things a little bit throughout the year. But with all that said, and the 2-week delay in the final, we've got a banger of a main event that, as previously mentioned, it's the highest ranked Oktagon middleweight event in the world.
Yeah.
So where do you see this game changer part out of the 3, man?
They've all been so good. That's the thing, right? And I've been around I've covered all of them, right? That first one, you don't see that in MMA anymore. The only promotion that was doing that at the time was Bellator with their Grand Prix. And that's something I love tournaments. You know, we all love the Champions League. We love the NFL playoffs. I'm a big American sports guy, as you can tell by my top. So the playoff format is something to me that is just homely. It's fun. It's easy to see. Okay, this guy has to fight this guy next. It makes sense. It's fun, and that's how you don't get a division that kind of stagnates for a while. The welterweight one was really fun. It had the drama of the final with Michailidis dropping Velickovic. You had also stacked names. Ion Serdu was in there, by the way, and he got beat in the first round. they now, or well, was the welterweight champion. You know, never lost the belt, lost it to the scale. You had some big names. You had ex-UFC names in there. It was a very fun, dramatic final. Lightweight, I think that is the best tournament. High-low fights, you have the Ronnie Keita storyline. How did they not meet each other throughout the tournament to the final? That was God's doing there. You know, they got all the way up to the final. And that was a great final. It was a great knockout. It was an emphatic end to their big rivalry. But we had great fights between it. Keita looked beatable a little bit early in the tournament and then came back with career best performances. Ronnie looked ridiculous throughout that whole tournament, knocking guys out, dominantly winning. Then obviously loses the final. That was a really exciting final for the time that it lasted. The middleweights, as much as I've really enjoyed this season, it's the most access I've had around a season, I'd say. And I feel like on a personal level, I've grown with it, like my brand a little bit. But I can't ignore the amount of pullouts. The doping test at the beginning of the year knocked 2 fighters out of the tournament. Then guys like Kamil Onizchuk, who's fighting on this card against Marek Bartle, you know, he fills in. We have a lot of fill-ins. We have injuries. You know, Mate Peñas could have been really fun watching in this tournament. Vlasto Shepo could have been fun watching in this tournament. I believe he actually fell out early in the tournament. You know, we had a lot of, I would say I had potential to be number one, but I can't put it at number one. And for me, as I said, the drama of the finals, I have to wait and see what this final says to kind of crown it. Right now, I put the lightweights number one, I put the welterweights number two, and I put the middleweights number three right now, just because we haven't seen the final. I've had a lot of pullouts, but that being said, a lot of storylines. If it weren't for the injuries, we wouldn't have Dominic Humberger right now, by the way. So, you know, when bad things come good things, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, with the bad comes the good.
It does.
I think I messed that one up, but either way. But they're so close, right? It's not like a 1, 2, 3. It's a 1, 2, 3. Like it's those tournaments have been fun. I hope Oktagon somehow continues to do it, even if the Tipsport contract is up, because it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's fun to have again. I would love to see it with the featherweights. Please do a featherweight tournament, please.
Yeah. From my perspective, after my first Oktagon event in Manchester in 2023, I come out to Prague 6 weeks later to witness the final. Great final, like you said, a lot of drama in the welterweight final. The lightweight tournament, I think the tournament was exceedingly good all the way through. The form of Paradisi that you mentioned, we're seeing Keita go in deep waters. There was some shaky moments for him throughout the tournament, so it was gripping all the way through. Everybody stayed healthy as well. It was quite lucky, and it proved to be a dramatic final. This one, the third year, I'm with you. You can't really ignore all the pullouts and stuff. Yes, like I said, we do have a great final on paper and in prospect, but we will have to judge on the finals after Saturday night. But I'm with you. For tournament throughout it, I'd go with season 2, the lightweight. But for final, we'll decide on that after Saturday.